Two kings, one land, a tale of power, ambition, and betrayal, Alaric and Cedric, rivals by blood, enemies by ambition. Their feud was not just personal, but a struggle for the very soul of the kingdom. Their banners, a crimson lion and a silver falcon, clashed in the winds. Each symbolized the strength and pride of their respective houses. The people whispered, fear clinging to them like wood smoke. War shadowed the land. Villagers lived in constant dread, their lives hanging in the balance. The river thorn, a silver serpent, snaked through the heart of the kingdom, dividing it in two. It was both a lifeline and a boundary, a symbol of the division. On one side, King Alaric ruled from his fortress of Eagle's Crest. His stronghold was a symbol of his unyielding will and strategic mind. On the other, King Cedric held court in the opulent palace of Sunhaven. Tensions simmered. His palace was a testament to his wealth and influence. Border skirmishes flared like dry tinder. Each clash brought the kingdom closer to the brink of full-scale war. Whispers of treachery and betrayal echoed in the halls of power. Alliances shifted like sand, and trust was a rare commodity. The kingdom, once united and strong, teetered on the brink of a catastrophic war. The fate of the land hung in the balance, as the shadow of conflict loomed ever larger. Thomas, a humble woodcutter, knew nothing of kings and their ambitions. His days were spent in the quiet solitude of the forest, far removed from the intrigues of the court. The only sounds he knew were the rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, and the steady thud of his axe against wood. His world was the forest, his life ruled by the rhythm of the seasons. Spring brought new growth, summer the warmth of the sun, autumn the harvest, and winter the biting cold. Each season had its own tasks, its own challenges, and Thomas embraced them all with a quiet determination. He lived a simple life, his days filled with the honest toil of a common man. The villagers respected him for his hard work and his gentle nature. He was content, finding joy in the small things, the smell of fresh-cut wood, the sight of deer grazing at dawn, the warmth of a fire on a cold night. One evening, as he gathered kindling near the old Roman road, he overheard voices. They were hushed, conspiratorial. The road was ancient, a remnant of a time long past, and it was rare to see anyone there. His curiosity was piqued. Curiosity drew him closer, his heart pounding in his chest. He moved silently, his years in the forest making him as stealthy as any woodland creature. The voices grew clearer, and he could make out snippets of their conversation. Hidden amongst the ancient oaks, Thomas listened. The men spoke in low tones, their words filled with urgency and danger. He strained to hear, his breath shallow and his senses heightened. The men spoke of King Cedric, of a plot, of an assassination attempt on King Alaric during the upcoming solstice feast. Thomas could hardly believe his ears. The fate of kings and kingdoms was being decided right there, in the forest he called home. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced him. He knew that this knowledge was dangerous, that it could change everything. The weight of the secret pressed down on him, and he realized that his simple life would never be the same again. The weight of the secret pressed down on Thomas. He couldn't ignore what he'd heard. Lives were at stake. The fate of the kingdom hung in the balance. Yet, fear held him captive. What was he, a simple woodcutter, to do? To speak meant risking everything, his livelihood, his family, his life. Silence, however, gnawed at his conscience, a constant reminder of the impending doom. Days turned into sleepless nights. The forest, once his sanctuary, now echoed with the whispered plot. He sought solace in the familiar rhythm of his axe, but found none. The dilemma gnawed at him, a relentless tormentor. Section 4. The die is cast. One morning, Thomas decided, he couldn't bear the burden of silence any longer. He would tell King Alaric. It was a dangerous gamble, but one he had to take. His conscience, his loyalty to the crown, demanded it. He set out for Eagle's Crest, his heart pounding with each step. He would tell his tale and pray for the best. The fate of the kingdom, and his own, rested on the shoulders of a king. Section 5. Echoes of Betrayal. The journey was fraught with danger. He evaded Cedric's patrols, moving silently through the dense underbrush. The forest was both his ally and his enemy, offering concealment but also hiding threats. His knowledge of the forest was his only shield. Each rustle of leaves, each snapping twig, sent shivers down his spine. The shadows seemed to move with a life of their own, whispering secrets of betrayal and treachery. Every step was a gamble, every breath a risk. He knew that one wrong move could mean his end. The fear was palpable, but so was his determination. He reached Eagle's Crest, exhausted, but resolute. The towering walls of the castle loomed above him, a stark contrast to the wild forest he had just traversed. His journey was far from over. He was granted an audience with King Alaric, a man known for his wisdom and stern demeanor. The throne room was grand, filled with courtiers and advisors, all eyes on the weary traveler, his rough hands shaking as he recounted the overheard plot. The king listened, his face unreadable. The weight of his words hung heavy in the air, each sentence a potential death sentence. As Thomas finished his tale, the room seemed to hold its breath. The silence was deafening, the tension almost unbearable. A heavy silence descended upon the room. The courtiers exchanged nervous glances, unsure of what would come next. King Alaric's eyes, cold and sharp as steel, met his. What fate awaited Thomas? The king's gaze was piercing, as if trying to see into his very soul. Would the king believe him, a simple woodcutter, or would his words be dismissed as the ravings of a desperate man? Or would he be branded a traitor, his life forfeit for daring to speak? The stakes were high and the outcome uncertain. His life forfeit for daring to speak. The echoes of betrayal reverberated through the hall, a chilling reminder of the perilous path he had chosen.